I'm Ben Meiselas from the MeidasTouch Network, and this is a breaking news alert and the breaking news we've been waiting for, folks. It is now being reported first by the Independent that prosecutors are ready to ask for Donald Trump to be indicted on obstruction of justice and Espionage Act charges in connection with Donald Trump's theft of thousands of government records, as well as Donald Trump's obstruction of justice in connection with the Department of Justice's criminal investigation into his theft. We are also learning this, folks, and this is big. According to this report by the Independent, written by Andrew Feinberg, Mark Meadows, Donald Trump's former chief of staff, has agreed to plead guilty to lesser charges in exchange for an immunity deal. Let me just read directly from the Independent's report. They state the following. Mr. Meadows has already given evidence before the grand jury and is said to be cooperating with the investigation into his former boss. It is understood that the former North Carolina congressman will plead guilty to several federal charges as part of a deal for which he has already received limited immunity in exchange for his testimony, folks. That means if this reporting is correct and comes from a very credible source, that Mark Meadows has flipped on Donald Trump, will be testifying against Donald Trump in exchange for a limited immunity deal, and in exchange for Mark Meadows agreeing to plead guilty to several federal charges. Let me also read from this portion of the report by the Independent. Another source familiar with this matter has said that Donald Trump's team was recently informed that he is a target of the Justice Department probe, which began in early 2022 after National Archives and Records Administration officials discovered more than 100 documents bearing classification markings in a set of 15 boxes of Trump administration records retrieved from Mar-a-Lago. And earlier in the day, it was reported by someone by the name of John Solomon, who is a kind of right-wing reporter who usually gets scoops directly from Donald Trump and Donald Trump's team. Remember, John Solomon is the individual who Mark Meadows wanted to funnel information and videos to about the January 6th insurrection. So he is very close to all of the right-wing leaders, the MAGA Republican leaders. John Solomon reported earlier in the day, breaking, feds informed Donald Trump that he is a target and likely to be indicted as Department of Justice rebuffs prosecutorial misconduct claim. I think that refers to the meeting where 3 of Donald Trump's lawyers met with Special Counsel Jack Smith earlier in the week to whine and to complain. That meeting ultimately went nowhere, and we saw Donald Trump's lawyer Jim Trusty, Lindsey Halligan, and John Rowley entering and exiting the Department of Justice office building. Maggie Haberman, meanwhile, from the New York Times, spoke with Donald Trump earlier in the day, and she said that Trump tells me minutes ago he has not been told he's getting indicted, by the way, which means he has been told. She goes, Trump tells, because everything he says is a lie. Trump tells me minutes ago he has not been told he's getting indicted when contacted. Quote, it's not true, he said, adding again, he hasn't done anything wrong. She then linked to the John Solomon article, and then she posted one of Donald Trump's recent posts on his social media platform that he just made, and Donald Trump states the following: no one has told me I'm being indicted, and I shouldn't be, because I've done nothing wrong, but I have assumed for years that I am a target of the weaponized DOJ and FBI, starting with Russia hoax, the no collusion Mueller report, impeachment hoax number 1, impeachment hoax number 2, the perfect, he puts that in caps, Ukraine phone call, and various other scams and witch hunts, a travesty of justice and election interference at a level never seen before. Republicans in Congress must make this their number one issue. He's making a rallying call right now to the insurrectionists in Congress, the MAGA Republicans, to try to bail him out of this. They have no power to do that whatsoever, but he wants them to interfere with Special Counsel Jack Smith's ongoing criminal investigation and likely soon indictments that are about to take place. And we reported here on the MeidasTouch Network, for example, that MAGA Republican Jim Jordan has already written letters to the Department of Justice to try to interfere with Special Counsel Jack Smith's criminal investigation.
This is one of our new favorite partners, Shortform. Shortform isn't just some run-of-the-mill product. This is truly amazing, and at its core, Shortform is condensed books. Look, we're all incredibly busy, and reading an entire book is challenging in 2023 with everything going on in our lives. But that's exactly why Shortform is so great for so many people. First, I love the condensed information. Shortform provides the most important information of what you're reading, so you don't have to worry about missing out on any key learnings. Also, after a chapter or an idea is presented, they'll have these journaling moments where they'll ask you questions to make sure you're keeping yourself engaged. The combination of reading and reflecting, it keeps your mind sharp, and it's awesome. I love this app, and I'm so happy they're a sponsor of this show. They have a great range of books like Kobe Bryant's The Mamba Mentality, which is a powerfully motivating read. Can't Hurt Me by David Goggins, which is fascinating. And Thinking Fast and Slow by Daniel Kahneman, which helped me teach me about self-confidence and so much more. Shortform has new books and articles every week. And if you're a subscriber of the MeidasTouch podcast, get a free trial and additional 25% discount on the annual subscription. Join Shortform through my link. Shortform.com/Meidas. That's a free trial and an additional 25% discount on the annual subscription of Shortform at shortform.com/Meidas.
From the Independent report, no big surprises on the charges that Special Counsel Jack Smith is pursuing. Violations of the Espionage Act and obstruction of justice. Earlier this morning, we had learned that the top counterintelligence official at the Department of Justice, Jay Bratt, had been questioning one of the individuals who leads one of Donald Trump's political action committees, and had been questioning that individual about a variety of topics and statements that were made. The fact that you have the top counterintelligence official doing the questioning was another indication that Espionage Act charges were being investigated. In addition, the Espionage Act violations, obstruction of justice, and concealment and mutilation of records, the various statutes related thereto, were included in the search warrant affidavit, as well as the search warrant itself that was ultimately executed on Mar-a-Lago on August 8th of 2022. And this is, the news just keeps coming in as we're reporting. We're also learning from the Washington Post that, and this is breaking right now, Department of Justice prosecutors are planning to bring a significant portion of charges stemming from the mishandling of classified documents at a federal court in South Florida. Jack Smith wants to base the case where most of the possible misconduct happened. But what this means is you could have some charges in Washington, D.C., some charges likely in the Miami division in the Southern District of Florida being brought against Donald Trump, as well as the various aides and staff members of Donald Trump. Folks, this is very, very big breaking news that Donald Trump likely will be indicted by Special Counsel Jack Smith, and that will be presented to the grand jury likely beginning on Thursday. It is possible that the full presentation of the charges will take potentially longer than a day or two, so it will likely go into next week as well before the vote to indict Donald Trump takes place by the grand juries, a grand jury in Southern Florida, grand jury in Washington, D.C. And then, of course, the big news here that Mark Meadows not only has testified, but is cooperating, according to this report. And again, it comes from a very credible source. I would not be discussing it if this was not a very credible source, but that it is understood that former North Carolina congressman and former Trump chief of staff has agreed to plead guilty to several federal charges as part of a deal for which he has already received limited immunity in exchange for his testimony. That, folks, would spell game over for Donald Trump. And I think that there is a reason we've been seeing all of these Republican candidates now joining the fray to run for the Republican nominee for president. They probably know the writing is on the wall. Folks, justice is here. Justice has arrived. Of course, we will keep you updated if there's any additions or edits or changes to this reporting. But this reporting just breaking right now, and we will keep you posted. Of course, I'm Ben Meiselas from the MeidasTouch Network. Hit subscribe. We're on our way to 1.5 million subscribers. Thanks to your support, and check us out at patreon.com/MeidasTouch, and wherever you get audio podcasts, make sure you subscribe to the MeidasTouch podcast, and have a great day.
Love this video? Then you'll love the MeidasTouch podcast. Listen as my brothers and I break down the latest news and chat with top political leaders on the fastest growing pro-democracy podcast in the world. New episodes drop every Tuesday and Friday. Add the MeidasTouch podcast right now wherever you listen to your podcasts.